Hey everyone, me again. Sorry that it's been so long since my last upload. I'm actually doing a video on my other channel all about where I've been and why I've been away for so long. That will already be up by the time this video goes up, so I'll leave the link to that in the description box if you're wondering why I've been gone for so long. But anyway, back to today's video. I thought we'd do a really nice chatty makeup favourites today. Everything is from the drugstore because you know me, I'm a cheapskate, and most of the stuff that I'm going to talk about I'm actually wearing today, so you'll have some nice sexy cutaways of me putting the makeup on as well. So the first thing I wanted to chat about is this primer from Primark. This is the PS Instagirl Selfie Ready Blur Primer. I was talking about this on Instagram and a few people said that they wanted to know what I thought of it. I picked it up because I was looking for something to blur my pores. I don't know if it's because the weather has been so bad in the UK recently or because I'm getting older and I just have more fine lines and pores and texture on my face now than I did before. But either way, I have noticed a change in my skin texture and I was looking out for a primer that would kind of help to smooth everything out before I put my makeup on. And then I found this when I was in Primark for £5 and thought I'd try it. It does exactly what I wanted it to do. It doesn't make everything disappear, it's not magic, but it definitely blurs things out and gives me a nice smooth base to put my foundation on top of. Just for reference, I have a kind of combination skin type, so it's dry in a lot of areas, but then down here it can get quite oily, and even though everything does seem quite dry a lot of the time, my makeup will break down if I don't prime and set it and use a setting spray afterwards. So primer is something that I use every single day and I've really been liking this. I've actually got a new favourite foundation as well. Recently I've been reaching for the Rimmel Lasting Finish 25 Hour Foundation. This is a really nice drugstore everyday foundation if you've got something that you want to cover up. So I've got skin redness, my skin is quite blotchy and uneven. I've also got scars left over from spots that I had 4 years ago that don't seem to be going anytime soon. You know, I have quite a lot that I want to cover up, and this is a really nice buildable foundation for that purpose. It's definitely not quite pale enough for me. It does oxidise a bit, and as it oxidises, it does get a bit more pink. That's a problem that I also had with my other Rimmel foundation. That's the Match Perfection one. I'll leave the link to my review for that foundation on the screen and in the description box for you. So it is a shame that this is the lightest shade. This is 010 Light Porcelain, and it does oxidise a little bit, but I love the formula so much that I'm willing to work with it. So in the cutaway, I've actually mixed it with the MUA Custom Colour Foundation Mixer in Lightning Warm. This is about £4 from Superdrug. If you've got pale skin, you need this, trust me. Especially if you've got a drawer full of foundations that are all a bit too dark for you, this will work wonders. So I like to mix these together, or I'll mix this with like an illuminating primer or something to lighten it up a bit as well. I will do a dedicated foundation review at some point. If you're new around here, I really like reviewing foundations because I buy so many of them, I might as well. But when I film that review, I will wear it on its own and show you how it looks with a brush versus a sponge and all of that good stuff. But for everyday purposes, I just like to mix it with the lightener from MUA, and then I will blend in a thin layer with a really dense buffing brush just to get a nice even coat all over my face. Then I'll take a damp Real Technique sponge and I'll just kind of dab that all over my face just to help everything to sink in, and if there's any cakiness, this will help it really smooth into the skin as well. And then I'll just use that same sponge to build it up where I need it in my areas of redness. So this has been working out really well for me. The reason I love this so much is because it lasts really well on my skin. I used to really love my Revlon Colour Stay if I wanted a long-lasting foundation. You'll see in the review I did for that last year, that was really a holy grail foundation for me at one point. But now, I don't know if my skin's changed or what, but it's just too matte for me to work with now. I can't wear it anymore without really working it into my skin, whereas this one is a lot easier. This is also a lot cheaper than Revlon Colour Stay as well, which is another bonus. So let's move on to eyes now. I've really been loving the Maybelline Colour Tattoo in Creme de Rose, just like everyone else on YouTube is really loving this. I've actually had this for a while, but for some reason I've really been reaching for it over the last couple of months and using this every single time I do my makeup. This is a really nice base for my eyeshadow. It's just this sort of nude, cool toned pink shade. I usually just apply it with my fingers, but today I found that quite difficult because I'm obviously wearing false nails, which I always wear when I'm filming because my real nails are atrocious. You don't want to see them, trust me. But this has been really nice for me. This is actually the only colour tattoo that I use nowadays, and I think I've got 3 or 4 of them, but this is the only one that I reach for because it works with every single look. It's really good at cancelling out the veins on my eyelids and the sort of discoloration there, so if you have a similar problem, or if you're just like me and you have hooded eyes and you really struggle to get your eye makeup to last during the day, this might change your makeup. I was going to say change your life then, but I thought, come on, a cream eyeshadow base isn't really going to change anyone's life, it's just going to make their makeup look a bit better, isn't it? Another thing that's really been helping my eye makeup to last is this contour palette from Makeup Revolution. This is their Pro HD powder contour palette in the fair shade. So they have a few of these palettes, so if you're not as pale as I am, they have some darker ones as well, so everyone can get a contour palette that works for them. This is the first like contour palette thing that I've ever bought, because usually if it's just like a generic one, then most of the shades will be too dark for me. But this one I can use pretty much everything. I think this chocolatey brown one here is a little bit too dark for me to use as a contour, but I use this as eyeshadow. But I've been finding that when I use the Maybelline Colour Tattoo and I set it with this powder here, that works really well. My makeup has never lasted so long as it does when I use this setting powder, so this is some really good stuff. I just gave you the finger by accident, sorry. I also really love this under the eyes as well because it's quite brightening, it's quite pale, so it works really well for me. And just any areas of redness that are still showing through foundation, concealer, that kind of thing. And obviously I do love it to contour with as well, so I use this shade most of the time. I've got that in my crease on my eyes, and I've also got it on my cheekbones as well. Sometimes on a more natural day I will mix that with that for my cheek contour, just so it doesn't look as harsh if I don't have as much makeup on. But most of the time I can just wear that. I'm doing it again, I keep giving you the finger, sorry. But most of the time I can get away with just using this shade. And they're not so pigmented that they're really difficult to work with. You can just kind of build them up as to how you want them. So I wear this on my eyes and on my cheeks as well. I have a ridiculous amount of eyeshadow palettes, but you'd be surprised how rarely I actually wear eyeshadow. I usually only reach for it when I'm filming a video or when I'm going out in the evening. On an everyday basis, I will just slap on whatever contour, bronzer, highlighter situation I've got going on my face and just put that on my eyes. So I might as well show you the blush next while we're talking about it, because I do use these as eyeshadow as well as blush. So I've actually got 2, and I'm kind of lumping them together because the first one is really difficult to get hold of. So this is the George blush. This is a baked blush in the shade Aurora. This is an absolutely beautiful baked blusher. This was £5, and for the amount of product you get, that's a very reasonable price. You get 12 grams of product in here, and this is a really beautiful kind of pink frosty silver kind of shade. So I've been using this as eyeshadow and as something on my cheeks. It also means that I don't have to use highlighter because it is quite frosty and quite shimmery, and I really love that when I'm getting ready in a bit of a hurry. So that blush is available at ASDA, but if you don't live near an ASDA, or if you just don't have ASDA in your country, it is really hard to get hold of, and I can't find it online for the life of me. I've tried very hard, but I can't. So I wanted to show you this blush palette from Makeup Revolution because it's very, very similar. And I do reach for this sometimes as well instead of the George blush. That shade there is a bit more pink than silver, but it is quite similar, especially if you mix it with this glittery white next to it. I also really like this shade here. That's the one that I'm wearing today. It's very, very intense, so make sure you use this with a really light hand, and I find that using a stippling brush really helps when I'm applying this because it is so kind of chunky and a bit glittery. But that makes it really nice on the eyes. So I'm wearing that all over my eyes today. And for my cheeks, I mixed it with a little bit of this brown nude one, just to kind of tone down the shimmeriness because I am going out after I finished filming this and I don't want anything too OTT or anything that will kind of catch the light too much. I've been really loving this palette as well as the ASDA blush that I just mentioned, so I kind of reach for one or the other depending on what look I'm going for, but I would highly recommend this if you can't get hold of the George blush, or even if you can but you'd just rather have a nice selection of colours instead of just having one giant blush. The next thing I'm going to show you is very exciting, or at least it is to me anyway because I'm a little bit sad, but this is the Maybelline Push Up Angel Mascara. Now, if you've been around here for a while, you'll know that I am absolutely obsessed with the Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara. It's been my favourite for a few years actually. But recently I saw someone feature this in a video, I can't remember who, I'm sorry, but I really liked the look of the brush. It's a very tiny brush, and if you're like me and you've got really sparse eyelashes, you'll know that a lot of the time you'll be putting your mascara on and then it will just go through the gaps in your eyelashes and it will get all over your mobile lid, so it will kind of disrupt whatever eyeshadow you've put down before your mascara. And that was a really big problem I had with the Maybelline Lash Sensational. Even though I loved the effect that it gave my lashes, I did find that I would have to clean it up afterwards because it made a huge mess. This, I don't really have that problem, or at least I don't anywhere near as much as I did with the Maybelline Lash Sensational. This, I can really work it into the roots of my lashes and I know that it's not going to go everywhere. And the good thing about that is that it makes it look like I've tight lined my eyes when I haven't, because I don't wear eyeliner because I'm too lazy. But this makes it look like I've put in a little bit more effort than I actually have. It's lengthening and defining, which are the two main things that I go for with mascara. But if you build it up a bit, if you kind of let it dry, do the mascara on the other eye and then come back to it for a second coat when it's dried a bit, then you can really build it up and you can get some decent volume going on in there. The only thing is I really wish they did this in a brown shade. I absolutely love brown mascara because I'm so pale, I just think that it's really flattering on me. So hopefully they'll bring it out in brown at some point, but right now you can only get it black or black waterproof, so there's really not much variety. But either way, I still really love this. It's been a really long time since I had a favourite lipstick. Like, I don't tend to buy a lot of new lipsticks nowadays. I think when I first started YouTube, which was about 3 years ago, I was absolutely obsessed with getting a new lipstick every single time I went to Superdrug. But these days I don't. I'm just more of a lip balm kind of girl. And that's usually because I am running late and I will kind of just shove on a lip balm as I'm running out of the door going to the bus stop. But recently I have found a lipstick from Rimmel just because they had a 3 for 2 on when I got the foundation, so I actually got the foundation and this and another thing. But this is the Rimmel Lasting Finish lipstick in the shade 077 Asia, and I feel like this has been talked about for years and I'm really late to the party. But I'm glad to finally be here because it's a really lovely shade. It's exactly the kind of thing that I wear most of the time, like a deep pink, neutral mauve sort of vibe. And it also matches my false nails, which is really nice as well. So I kind of just dab this on my lips and then I rub it in with my finger just to get a wash of colour, but you can easily build this up if you wanted something a little bit more intense. But I like this for the same reason that I actually like the Rimmel foundation. It's a nice creamy texture, but it does still last really well on my lips, and creamy finish products don't normally do that. And then the last thing that I wanted to chat about is this setting spray from Maybelline. As I've been saying a few times in this video, my makeup doesn't always last as well as I would like it to. Other setting sprays I've found haven't made a massive difference, but they have helped to kind of make my makeup look a bit less cakey because I have dry skin. That can be an issue for me. This one fixes that problem, but it also does help your makeup to stay put. Like, your makeup will be completely locked into place. If you're like me and you don't usually remember to touch up your makeup with powder during the day, then you really need this in your life. It is one of those ones that you have to shake, otherwise you will get little white spots all over your face and completely ruin your look. but if you actually remember to shake it and use it properly, then you will get a really good result. Whether your skin is dry like mine or whether it's more on the oily side, I can really see this working for a lot of different people, especially in the summer, which seems very far away, but eventually it will get warmer at some point, and when it does, I think I'm going to be reaching for this a lot. And that is everything. Those are all the new makeup pieces that I've really been loving recently. This is the first time that I've actually talked to a camera properly for a really long time, so I'm sorry if it was a little bit all over the place or if I just talk too fast or what, because I'm really out of practice, but hopefully you got the idea and you found some makeup that you really like. Anyway, that's everything from me today, so I'm going to stop rambling on now and I'm going to film the video for my other channel about where I've been all this time. Due to the magic of scheduling and editing in advance, you'll have seen that one already, but in my time I'm going to film that next. I'm going to really try and get back into making regular videos over here, so stay tuned for those. And you might want to consider hitting the little notification bell for my videos, just because YouTube has been very temperamental recently and it doesn't always send new videos to people's subscription boxes. So if you really do like my videos, then maybe hit the notification bell and or follow me on Twitter because I always post new videos on there. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!